happened with the big dump?
Big dump.
You said it was a big dump today and they fucked up? That was your take.
No.
They fucked up?
The fuck up was that people have found out that the redactions weren't really redacted.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's like that's a big mistake. Like you can copy and paste and put it in another document and see the redactions.
Oh, like a Photoshop deal?
Yeah.
Like you could get the layers away?
Yeah.
Oh, whoopsies. That's what happens. You get fucking people working for the government that are dorks.
Then, which is like, this is like
That's a
steps
big
to
deal.
this. If you're,
Yeah.
I wasn't following it all, but the Department of Justice has tweeted a couple interesting things today, starting with this one 8 hours ago. So it's like 6 a.m. or something.
Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims.
Some of those documents have been deleted now.
Okay, so they're saying that 30,000 more pages of documents, and some of them contain untrue and sensational claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election, right? But by who?
That's people are just sort of taking it as a grain of salt, saying like, "What?" So nobody else. It's all.
It's only Trump.
untrue about Trump.
Right.
Nothing. Nobody else. You know?
All the Bill Clinton photos were definitely
The other
him
one
with,
was.
come
this
on.
Picture came out of a letter that seems to be a potential suicide note written by Epstein, written to Larry Nassar. The facts of that were strange. There's a postmark, which is 3 or 4 days after he died.
Wait a minute. Larry Nassar.
Yeah, he was also in jail.
He's the Olympic guy?
Yeah.
The doctor that
Yeah,
was a
so it's-
pedophile?
Yeah, and it's like a letter writing like, "Hey, I know what you know why I'm in jail. I know why you're in jail."
Boy, that
Yeah.
seems weird that he's writing a letter
He
to
says
a
he's taking the
pedophile.
short
Yeah,
route.
and like that
Yeah.
starts off saying, "If you've gotten this, you know I took the in quotes short route out," which
Short route home, right?
yeah. But there's some weird detail. People are like they said, they're saying this is fake or maybe fake.
Did they
just
get a
tweeted this
handwriting
30 minutes
expert
ago.
to analyze it yet?
Peering doesn't. That's. I started asking the questions like, well, then why? Why did it come out? How are you know?
Oh, so the FBI, it says the FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar is fake. Fake in all caps. Trump wrote that. The fake, he busted by the use
fake
of all
letter.
caps. Fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. The fake letter serves as a reminder that just because the document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. Well, this is how they probably should have done it from the beginning, right? Release all material.
Yeah.
And then refute whatever you say is fake. And you say, okay, it didn't have his inmate number. It's not his handwriting. It's fake. It was 3 days after his death. It was postmarked from Virginia. He was in New York.
But don't make it
It's
look
fake.
like you're covering it up. Just
Right. Release it
although
and
I
say
will
it's
say,
fake.
I have seen on people complaining about like they're not meant to say anything due to embarrassment. But when it's like Ghislaine Maxwell's boobs, they will censor it out. We're going, this has been illegally censored. You must,
Yeah,
by
I
the
need,
United States, show me her boobs.
I need to see them areolas.
Is she? She's in prison in Texas.
She's in, you can kind of call it prison. She does yoga, plays cards, hangs out.
Is she allowed to talk to people?
I don't think so. She's not allowed to podcast, I'm sure, if that's what you're getting at.
I am. That would be a really exciting case.
If everybody wants to die, that would be a really good podcast.
I think she's just a nice, normal lady.
Do you think Trump, on the way out, pardons her?
She's a nice woman. I wish her well. I don't know. It's
The weird thing, she's in jail for sex trafficking to who?
Epstein.
Right.
But was it
To
for
him?
that?
Him?
I think it was 16-year-olds
Just to him?
in Florida, and it was directly to him. I experimented with being like a non-Epstein believer.
Really?
Yeah, for about 2 weeks.
What
I
did
thought-
you going on?
I was like, maybe he's just a pervert who liked getting back rubs from 16-year-olds and he had famous friends. Because everyone was like, he's Mossad, he's CIA.
What do you think now?
Yeah, he's obviously something. I just thought everyone in the green was saying he's Mossad. I was like, I could be. Maybe the controversial thing would be to not believe there's
Take the
conspiracy.
contrarian position.
I just wanted to experiment with the contrarian position, and it's getting harder and harder to hold that.
Yeah, it
together.
seems like the more they get into his past, the more it feels like he was part of some sort of intelligence agency.
Or like channeling offshore money for people.
How about the fact that he just got a slap on the wrist during the first case when he caught a case, and then whoever it was the prosecutor or the judge, was told that he was intelligence.
There was and then someone. I listened to a podcast on it from like from Matthew Schmitz, who's Compact magazine, and they were making out that it was an anti-Semitic plot, that Epstein was secret intelligence, and genuinely, although I don't agree with them, it was one of the best put together podcasts I'd heard. And
Look at this suicide observation lot. 2:15 a.m. Inmate states his cellmate tried to kill him.
Inmate sitting on bed trying
He
to
later
remember what happened.
retracted it, saying he has no idea what happened, but there's pictures of him showing his wounds and stuff. I think he also said he woke up and didn't know where those wounds came from.
Oh, so that's the guy too, by the
Yeah.
way. You know that. That's
There's
the
the
cellmate,
pictures of his
the
wounds.
giant dude. Oh, so the cellmate beat the fuck out of him. I don't see any wounds.
Oh.
Where's the wounds? New release documentary.
That looks sad.
Semi-conscious with neck injuries.
He had marks around his wrist.
Let me
I think they
see.
said his. Well, I mean,
Let me see his neck. See,
can't really tell.
click
It's
it.
not a good picture.
What's a video?
Oh, okay, it's a video.
His picture. His hands were swollen. I think it said his ankles or feet were swollen too.
Oh, so the guy tried to grab his neck and choke him.
But they said they investigated. They didn't find anything.
Found no evidence of foul play. I didn't do nothing. He says he didn't do nothing. I don't know what to tell you. You're okay. Get back in jail, you pedophile. That's probably what they did. But the guy probably tried to kill him. I mean, he looks like a guy that would try to kill you, and he was definitely a murderer.
Yeah, if you're in jail cell with a pedophile, I don't think that's unusual to try and kill that guy.
Also, you're a bank guy who's in jail for murdering 4 drug dealers, and you're a cop. Like,
I don't know.
I was always saying that you could get him to kill that guy for like a pack of cigarettes.
If
That
you're in
guy's gonna
jail
be
for
in jail
life.
for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
forever, for sure. And you can give him like awesome special treatment if you wax Jeffrey Epstein.
Man, I tried so hard. I went on podcasts trying to say he
Did
wasn't.
you?
Yeah. I wish I hadn't. I just thought it was a cool like buck and bench the grain thing to say. And I was saying he was charismatic.
Yeah.
And famous people want to hang out with this charismatic
Good
man.
point.
That photo where he's with Michael Jackson, his loafers are incredible. He had a great sense of style.
Right, right.
But and then there's things about him discussing with, he's talking to ex-prime ministers of Israel about how to move money around or something. Yeah. It's
The
not
former
good.
prime minister of Israel used to visit him in his Manhattan place with like a mask over his face. He'd like pull his fucking, had like one of these things on. You ever see?
No.
Yeah. See,
But
they
he
have
was-
pictures of him trying to cover his face as he goes into Epstein's house, which is what I always do when I go to my friend's house.
You cover your face?
Yeah, you don't want anybody knowing. You go to the Ring doorbell,
But there's more
Nixon mask on.
more Prince Andrew ones now.
Oh, of course.
And he's
Well, there's a reason they literally kicked him out of the royal family. They banished him to a mansion somewhere in the hills.
I don't think he'd been. Yeah, it's not good. It
Not
hurts
good.
It hurts my regard for the beautiful royal family, who
Yeah.
I love very much.
I bet you do. You like a good royal family.
I love a
Look at
royal
him.
family.
Look at that dude.
Yeah. Well, he's dodging the paparazzi.
Oh, for sure. That's you're always in front of a financial guy's bunch of chicks leaving.
A lot of people seem to love out with this guy, a
a lot of fun.
charismatic guy.
Bet he's a lot of fun. Had cool parties.
I mean, it was Woody Allen he was hanging
Yeah.
out.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton seems to have a great time in all the photos.
There's a lot of people seem like a great time. Michael Jackson was hanging out there.
Michael Jackson didn't look like he was having a lot of fun, though.
I don't think he had a lot of fun, period. Right?
Michael?
Tortured individual.
He had a roller coaster. How could he be unhappy?
I don't think that was for him. That roller coaster
I
with
still know
when you
Michael
put up
Jackson
a turkey when you go
truthers.
turkey hunting, you put up a fake turkey.
No.
Bring in the turkeys.
His mother made him dance too much, and that's why he wanted to spend it with the boys. I can't defend Michael Jackson.
No, you can't.
No, it's
Who can you defend here? Michael Jackson or Epstein?
Well, I didn't have any. Yeah, I mean, probably Michael Jackson because the music was great.
The music was great, and his doctor said he was chemically castrated. You know that?
I don't.
Yeah, the doctor that went to jail for giving him propofol that wound up killing him.
The general anesthetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That doctor, when he got out of jail, spoke publicly about the fact that Michael, when he was young, was giving chemical castration drugs to protect his voice, to keep his voice from deepening.
I'm on the record saying Australia should be brought back.
You think so? You're on the record?
No, over and over again. I said, if we're going to have trans people,
Make him sing?
you get it regarding how well you can sing.
But you got to do it when you're really young. Like,
It's got to
they
be
have do
before
it-
puberty.
Yeah.
I don't really believe it, but I do want to hear the castrati again. We've got one recording and it's not very good.
Weird.
Have you heard it?
It's eerie. Yeah, we've done this podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's kind of macabre.
But people loved it at the time.
They were sick people.
And only the Italians. The Italians were bold. And they,
What a crazy move.
what?
Cut his
straight
son's
boy?
balls off when he's young so he could sing at a high pitch forever.
Well, I think they would cut them because they didn't have antiseptic. I think cut them off is.
What'd they do? They crushed their balls?
I think they'd crush them and then put them in a bath of milk. But do you know about this?
Crush them
Do you know
with-
about the thing?
What'd they do to crush the balls? What'd they use? They just smash them?
But it was
Look at that
illegal.
thing you did with-
The families would never cop to it because it was illegal to castrate your son. Oh. So you would come up with an excuse. And there's like one town in Italy where over the course of it, they reported hundreds of swan attacks. That's what they would say.
Oh,
They would say a
God.
swan
Attacked
flew
your
into my
nuts.
son's testicles.
Oh,
and that's why he's now the best singer in Milan.
And they so their son could make money, just like a theater mom.
But the people loved it. Like when there was the last one and they were going to retire it, people were crowds screamed, "Long live the knife." They wanted it to keep going. Do you know about this?
Long live the knife?
Yeah, there was like
the nut cutting knife?
widespread popular support not to get rid of the castrati.
Oh, my God.
People wanted to
really?
keep hearing it.
Bro, that's terrible.
But they must have sounded really good.
Well, we heard the recording. You want to hear it? Should we
Apparently he
leave on
was
the
no good.
recording?
Apparently he was
sucked?
one of the worst ones.
Many of these operations were performed by local barbers.
The razor.
I guess I did use the razor
Sliced your
sometimes.
nuts
No,
off
yeah, they
with
said
the
this was an
razor.
operation.
I should have
a
guessed
lot
you
of
were
times.
across the castrati.
Plucked them out.
I could have
like-
guessed that would have come up to it before. I didn't know you'd played it a bunch
Oh,
of
yeah,
times.
we played it before. Leave on this. We'll play
Oh,
it.
you want, I don't know if
Can we play it?
I can't. Those videos, it could have.
Yeah, somebody might own it.
I actually, to an argument about it, put it on a video once, and I got challenged, and I challenged it back because it was recorded so long ago.
Oh yeah, it should be in the open.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
There's a Wikipedia recording that's totally open. No, I'm across
Yeah,
it.
we don't want to deal
How
with it.
come no rappers are sampling the castrati? Brown.
Maybe Diddy when he gets...
Maybe you could.
I'm even going to try and be a Diddy defender.
But
I
you
thought
thi-
about it.
You're such a contrarian. You do think about it.
Yeah. It would. I just don't have enough time to research it properly. But if I had all the time, and if I didn't have kids, I would be spending all my time becoming the best Epstein defender because it would be a cool thing to say at parties very stridently. Wouldn't it? You'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's such an Australian thing to think. What do you got here?
It's just a quick explanation. I mean, they really sum this up fast.
Time roughly beginning of the 17th century to the mid-19th century, and airways of anesthesiation still had some way to go. And here we go. Before making the first cut, a surgeon would send a patient into a semi-comatose state by plying him with an opium-based drink and compressing his carotid arteries.
oh, that's the milk.
Then the boy would be plunged into a bath of milk or hot water to soften the necessary parts, at which point speed was of the essence. Cut the spermatic cords, remove the testicles, tie the ducts, and then fingers crossed. Oh, God. Oh, God.
But what is it about the Italians were the only people to do it?
Why are you fucking with people?
I know, I'm saying it's the greatness of spirit.
No.
To
it's
go, that's how much you
disgusting.
loved music.
It's disgusting.
People were trying to take over the world and build empires, not in Italy. That's what you were doing in the
They
17th
just didn't
century.
know that AI could just fake it. We could make an AI castrata. Maybe we should close on that. Have AI do a castrata.
I reject it.
of,
I reject AI castrato. I
Papa
want the
was a
real
rolling
thing.
That was right after Epstein first walked into Bill Clinton's life. That was between White House visit number 1 and White House visit number 2, while Epstein was funding the refurbishing of the entire West Wing of the White House.
I'm glad about Epstein because there was a point that I was going to make earlier that I forgot. The Epstein situation is identical to the Manson situation.
You think so?
Yeah.
Explain what you mean.
This is why.
I mean, you don't mean that literally. I think you mean that in a more
I
metaphorical.
mean structure. The structure of how you would pull, like if you were going to use an intelligence asset to do something evil, to do something where you can get dirt on people or compromise people or accomplish an objective, you would get someone who's already fucked up
Oh, 100%.
And you get that fucked up person and you help them, run this cult, or you help them get girls.
But you
And
intentionally keep. You're not hiring them. They don't work for you.
Right.
They're a private entity.
If he
it's like
wasn't-
layers of obfuscation.
Like, he wasn't personally a pervert, it wouldn't work.
Oh, not a chance. No.
Like, think about, like, the guy gets arrested for having sex with underage girls or getting them to do happy endings or wherever he did. So he gets arrested, and then the real weird thing is that he just gets out and gets like house arrest.
Yep.
And he gets like a little slap on the wrist, and then he's back in action with all these rich people again.
Yep.
Like really rich, influential people. Like Bill Gates is hanging out with him after he's already been arrested and convicted. Like, that's bananas.
But to your point about
but
them,
he's got to already be fucked up. He can't be
100%.
like a straight edge, regular guy with a family and children that is just evil. No, you got to have him in on the thing. So if you got a guy you know is already a freak, you know he's already a nut, and he's already like doing
That's how you recruit him.
blow and fucking hookers all the time, and maybe he's been caught with a few underage girls.
Well, when you where he came from and how he got plucked from Dalton School and then got put into Bear Stearns and then got put through Bear Stearns and then got put into money management, like
it was teaching point in time.
it was teaching at the Dalton School, and then he was a banker at Bear Stearns, which he conveniently left when this big scandal that implicated him and the director Goldstein that had hired him and had been helping him up. And then he left and kind of took the fall and took the dirt with him. And then he went into the arms running businesses, which is where he met Maxwell. Daddy Maxwell, not daughter Maxwell, and Anand Khashoggi and Lease and all these other arms traffickers. And that's where he got into those. So it's like you walk slowly into these worlds. And as they're doing that, I'm imagining they're taking tabs on of like, what kind of guy is this and what's he into? And he's working with arms traffickers. And some of those arms traffickers were famous for blackmail. Like Anand Khashoggi, he was famous for having his yacht filled up with cameras and given his arms deals everything they could ever want while he's selling weapons to them, and he's got his whole yacht wired up with cameras. Trump later bought that yacht, which is super interesting.
Whoa.
Do you know about that? Trump, check this out. And I'm not claiming that Trump is in on everything. It's a very complex thing here, but Trump's history is pretty weird. He bought the Plaza Hotel, which is where the Blue Suite parties that Black J. Edgar Hoover happened. You remember? Do you know about those?
What year was that?
Oh, dude. So J. Edgar Hoover, the founder of the FBI, this is where I thought I was starting this fucking job to talk about GameStop and to talk about like the financial markets and shit. And then I realized how important intelligence agencies and organized crime to how the world works. And I just got deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into like,
I don't want to
what's
miss
the
on
history?
some of the Epstein stuff.
Oh, we got.
Should we come back to that?
Well, we'll get there. This is all.
it's all connected. Okay.
I could talk about the Epstein stuff for days and start all kinds of trouble for your podcast and shit. But,
Well, I think
But-
that trouble's supposed to be coming out publicly.
I don't.
So the
It's not gonna
FBI in
come
New
out.
York guy had to step down, right?
Yeah.
They're saying they're withholding files.
Yeah.
So the Pam Bondi's office said that they just got thousands of files.
Alleged. Yeah. We'll see
Alleged.
what happens. What happens.
I've been saying that I'm like Charlie Brown with Lucy in the football.
Yeah.
You know, when she pulls the football away every time he thinks he's going to get to kick it and he goes falling on his ass.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause,
how
like,
it feels.
You haven't read Whitney Webb's books, have you?
No.
Really should.
I've
Because-
watched a lot of her stuff online, though.
So the thing about her stuff online is that she comes off as way more hinged on, because now she's very smart. She's very smart and she's
Clearly.
on it.
Clearly.
But she's now very concerned, rightly so, about the sort of technocratic nature might be to come. But her research on Jeffrey Epstein is looking backwards at the history of organized crime, the history of Epstein, and it paints a very, like, we know very well who he worked for, and we know who he was associated with. She has primary sources with pages of sources cited about who put him where, who he interacted with, who said what about him, who claimed what about his life. And it's like, it's 2 full books, and it's very well sourced with primary sources cited all the way throughout. And so it's like, we don't actually really need the Epstein files to know what's going on. They'll hopefully include a lot of new details.
Don't we need it for rock solid proof? Like, don't
Sort
we
of.
need the
So take Wexner that we were
flight
talking about
logs.
earlier. No, we already have the flight logs.
Do we have them?
Unredacted. All
Really?
of them. Yeah.
All of them. So
well,
do we know?
theoretically, the ones we know of.
And we have flight logs with destinations.
Yeah.
So we know who went to the island.
There, and you can read them online. They're on archive.org, as well as other places. But Leslie Wexner is a great example here. Leslie Wexner owns Victoria's Secret and L Brands, right? He's the bank that bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein. And I was saying earlier that he signed the power of attorney over to Jeffrey Epstein so that Jeffrey Epstein was able to sell his assets, manage his assets, buy on his behalf. He could sell Victoria's Secret without Leslie Wexner in the room or even his knowledge if he wanted to, because that's the level of power of attorney that he signed over to Jeffrey when he was his money manager. And the reason why you do that is so that you can claim that you don't know about his operation. He was just my money manager. I didn't know he was was running this thing because I wasn't involved in any of those transactions. But what that meant is that Leslie Wexner damn well knew. There's a whole, we could go into the mega group and we could go into his connections to Charles Bronfman, all these other things.
But I was about the Victoria's Secrets. If you're a pedophile, you want to work with kids, a Nickelodeon. If you're a freak, what do? You get in the underwear
That's how
business.
they were recruiting. They were recruiting from the Victoria's Secret modeling, and Jeffrey Epstein was claiming that he was a rep. But do you know about the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch that went down for running a sex trafficking?
Yeah.
He was Leslie Wexner's guy. When Leslie Wexner, he bought Abercrombie and Fitch in like 1990, maybe 91, 89. And then one of the first things he did was he put that dude into position himself. That was Leslie Wexner's dude. And he becomes the CEO, and he's gay, and he likes really hot young male models. And he started running a male sex trafficking ring out of Abercrombie and Fitch. So Leslie Wexner, this dude who is a self-proclaimed possessed by a demon.
What?
Whitney has a whole chapter where she goes into this article that was done by a main news source like 10, 20 years ago, where they're interviewing Leslie Wexner and asking him about how he came to power and what's his secret. It's called his D-book, D-Y-B-U-K, and you can read about this on Wikipedia as well. And he describes in his own that he's possessed by a D-book, which is like a Yiddish word for a evil demon that drives him for more and more and more and more. This is in his own words.
Is he being hyperbolic? Is
A
he
little
joking
bit.
around? Like,
No.
oh, I'm possessed by a demon that just wants more and more. I just want to be successful.
No, I mean, I wasn't in the room, but I assume based upon the wording and how it's put, I assume
let's
it's like,
find it.
yeah,
We'll
it's like
find it. I want to read that.
it's like a billionaire. I mean, it's in the text. It's directly quoted in the text in One Nation Under Blackmail, actually, which is in that backpack.
One Nation Under Black.
Nation Under
Is that
Blackmail by
Whitney's
Whitney Webb.
book?
Highly recommend, but it's super dense. It's a hard read. I've read it 3 times now, and I still am taking notes and trying to look things up to understand it because she's just so researched. And it's things like where she's gone back to the original like article where they were interviewing him, and he's just like a CEO. So they're just asking him, what's your secret to success? And he's, I'm possessed by, I have a drive for more. And he chose the word D-book, which is a Yiddish word.
So this is from New York Magazine interview.
That's exactly this.
He says, now perhaps it's time to reintroduce Leslie Wexner's D-book, the demon that always wakes up in the morning with Wexner and tweaks and pulls at him. When he was a boy, his father called it tummel, a churning. So he feels molten and unformed, pricked by these spiritual pins and needles. He met this demon again when he was 40 and already worth $500 million. When he climbed the mountain in front of the house in Vale and almost froze to death and decided to change his life. This demon he calls terminal Schvilkes, which makes him wander from house to house, repeating the pattern of his childhood on a luxurious scale, wanting more, swallowing companies larger than his own. It is precisely the reason that Wexner has $1 billion and doesn't stop at, say, $5 million and a new Mercedes every other year, and what he calls normal life. Bridge on Wednesdays and bar mitzvahs on Saturdays, and the Winding Hollow Country Club in Columbus, which is like Buckingham Palace to him when he was 15.
Yeah. He's a fucking weird dude. He's a sketchy dude. He's 2 sex trafficking rings out of his companies that he doesn't know anything about. And simultaneously, he founded, the Wexner Foundations and the Leslie Wexner Heritage Foundation. Those are also very interesting and controversial. They're very tied to Israel because he is one of the foremost Israeli philanthropists, despite being an American. But he founded what was called the Mega Group, which is it was not disclosed a long time. It was secret. And it is a group of Jewish billionaires that get together on behalf of global Judaism, which is not uncommon, and there's nothing wrong with that if they're not committing crimes. But they would get together and meet, and it's people like Leslie Wexner, Charles Bronfman. The list is, we could look it up. And that group, it is unclear if we have proof that they were conducting espionage, but there are all of them have ties to organized crime through various elements, like the Bronfmans were rum runners, as one example, that were then involved in the mob. Leslie Wexner is involved in these trafficking rings, etc. And the group seems to have been directly associated with Jeffrey Epstein. And she's one that she shows all the primary sources and like lays it all out. This is what we know, and this is where the source came from, and this is what it said, and these are possible explanations for it. Here's 1 or 2 or 3 explanations of what it might be, but we don't really know because this is as far as the evidence goes. And so Leslie Wexner is just one where there's all this swirling evidence all around him that in order for him to not be aware of what's going on and to not been an active part of this is damn near unbelievable in my eyes, allegedly. But I'm sure glad it's him, not Jeffrey Epstein, who was deeply interested in all these same technologies. This is a whole other side of him that no one talks about, is his interest in technologists, geneticists, and all those things, right?
Yeah, well, he had a lot of influence over scientists. That's a creepy move to like take scientists and
throw
bring
parties for them, conventions for them. And a couple of them, a couple had some serious accusations, like Marvin Minsky, for example. But I bet a lot of them were not compromised. Like Stephen Hawking, everyone freaked out when Stephen Hawking was on the list. But it makes perfect sense as you realize that he was throwing conventions on that island for scientists specifically to bring them all together, because that way you get connections, you can get favors, even if you're not blackmailing them. Then they just want to be on your good side because you have all these connections and you can fund all their projects, and you become this integral part of this technological sort of space.
Right. Black's not the only tool. That's a blunt instrument. There's a lot of just connections.
He also just blew up with wives. Like, do you know that he claimed that he introduced Melania Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. I suspect, Melania conspiracy time, I suspect that Melania has been whispering in Trump's ear. I think she was trafficked before, either bad or good, or just like knew Epstein and like knew that world a little bit. But I suspect that she's been whispering in his ear about what that really is and does and all things, because she's been kind of like acting from the back a lot. But when you really dig into what Melania's been doing, she's very active in anti-trafficking and in protecting trafficked victims and girls and stuff. And as Trump, when he married her, and then they have Barron, and he's watching his son grow. So you have this young child, and you have this wife telling you about her previous life, probably, and just whispering in your ear that like, this could be your legacy. This could be your legacy. This could be your legacy, right? Because he used to be friends with those people, even though I don't think he was blackmailed, because I think that would have come out when the Democrats were going for him.
Right.
And maybe he was involved in the trafficking a little bit because of the things that he bought and the people that he knew, and like Roy Cohn connections, but I don't even know about that. But regardless, he knows the game, and then he marries Melania, and then more like he was in charge when Epstein went down. He was the only one that when got arrested and they were going around asking for dirt, he was like, I'll fully fucking cooperate. Fuck that. I'll tell you everything that I know. And so I suspect that Melania has been instrumental in his sort of shift to being the only guy willing to go after those traffickers.
Out of all the information that's getting disclosed, supposedly this administration, what do you have the least faith that we're going to come to
Epstein,
a conclusion?
for sure.
Epstein.
And I think it's because of Israel. I think that because I mean, when you really dig into Epstein, his entire network was Israel. It was clearly like Ehud Barak was the ex-prime minister and the ex-head of Israeli intelligence. Leslie Wexner was one of the most powerful pro-Israeli philanthropists. The whole organization was Israel. So, and I'm not saying it was all of Israel.
It was all an intelligence gathering, and
it was Americans. It was targeting American officials and the American president.
Right.
And the CIA does have interest in those targets too. Elements in the CIA does. Certainly, they had help from the CIA, and certainly they had help from these other organized crime and intelligence operations. But you don't like. So, for example, Dan Bono, the new deputy director of the FBI, he recently had this clip all around where he said on camera that he trusted deeply, and he's an informed guy. He was at Fox News interview, and the source told him that Epstein was working for an intelligence agency in the Middle East, and I don't know which one, but someone in the Middle East. And to be fair, we all already knew this. We already know who he worked for. At least I think.
Why don't they release that fucking list, huh? I don't mean to divert this to the Epstein list. I just meant to ask you, isn't it weird?
It's a little odd.
What's going on? I keep thinking, what could be in that list? What's in there? What bit of information is in there?
Well, here's the thing. Like the list it's probably they probably don't have like a list in terms of like you have to sign up when you go to the island. You know what I mean? Like, but they know the flight logs.
Right.
Like that's all public knowledge, right? Isn't it?
All I know,
but it hasn't always been public knowledge in terms of like when people want to investigate things. Like if you go on a plane, say if you fly on a private plane, which most of these guys do, you tell everyone knows who's on the plane. Like you have to give your ID. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like I have to give my ID all the time even if you're on a private jet. So they know who's on the planes. They know. Like there should be a flight manifest, and like, they probably save those. And like that, the fact that, and no one's saying that just because you went there, you didn't do it doesn't mean you necessarily did a heinous crime, because I think you can't just have it chaos over there. I bet it was a real good honeypot where there's a lot of sophisticated intellectual discourse. You got a lot of brilliant people there. You've got great music, you know. You got like famous people are hanging around too.
Yeah.
It seems really cool. And then, if there's blackmail, the blackmail is like snuck into all this.
Yeah.
Snuck in, come to the room with the cameras. And next thing you know, you're doing cocaine. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. But, you know, you never get to an island.
Yeah.
You don't get to do this very often. I mean, I'm so busy with my CEO job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man.
And then next thing you know, you're donating money to whatever the fuck they tell you to.
But it's like, how many are releasing this shit, man? It's just it's like there's two votes that are happening. The UFO disclosure thing, they keep voting against that.
Yeah.
And the Epstein list, they keep voting against that.
Right.
What? And also, politically, it can't serve you to talk about a bad list. The list of people who said, let's protect people who like have done horrific shit to kids. You don't want to be on that list. But whatever's on that list must be so destabilizing. 51 to 49.
Okay, 51 to 49 to defeat an amendment that would have forced the Department of Justice to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. The vote was largely along party lines,
sides.
with 2 Republicans joining all Democrats in supporting the amendment.
Oh, wait, not both sides. Is it the Republicans voting against?
It says 2 Republicans joining the Democrats in supporting the amendment to defeat it. So why are the Democrats interested in defeating it?
Well, let's ask. No, I think they're saying that the Democrats want it to come out. Republicans don't.
Okay.
And party lines. Let's ask Perplexity. Why won't they release the Epstein?
So I was going to... Eric Swalwell, who's, I guess...
I read it wrong. Okay, so the Democrats were not. The Democrats were pushing this. The Republicans fought against it. Okay, I fucked that up. So 51 to 49 is crazy. So they just voted along party lines. So they're probably told to do this.
Right. So what the fuck's man?
Well, so then they've been... not only is the government shut down right now, I think that might affect it some, but they're in recess, Congress is. And so Eric Swalwell said this stuff today. Again, it might not be true, but...
It's coming to an end, guys. I've spoken to a lot of House Republicans. They confided that Trump's movement support is fading, as one told me. This Epstein bomb about to drop, and no one wants to defend a pedo protector. It's just a matter of time, Swalwell said in a thread. One Republican just texted me that if there's a discharge vote on Epstein, they expect a jailbreak of over 100. Trump will go nuts, he added.
So they said, this further goes on, if they get back, that this is the first thing on the docket, and that's sort of holding them back in recess right here.
Wow. We are watching wild in real time.
Dude.
This is a wild scene.
Oh my God, dude. Did you listen to Martyr Maid's episode on Epstein?
I didn't do it. I didn't listen. I didn't finish it, but I get creeped out by that guy.
It was creepiest few fucking...
Talked to Weinstein about him. Weinstein met him.
About Daryl?
No. Epstein. Weinstein.
That's how you were about that. I think he's just such the best.
I love Daryl too.
Okay, cool.
About Epstein, he met him.
Dude, what the fuck?
He had a girl on his lap while they talked. The girl was like 21 years old. And I think he said she was Asian, I don't remember. But he said she was really beautiful. And she was sitting on his lap, and he was bouncing her up and down while they were talking. So they're talking about finance, and her boobs are juggling. So he goes, she wasn't underage or anything. She was a woman, but she was sitting on his lap, and he was bouncing her around, and her boobs were bouncing in his face while they're trying to concentrate on whatever the fuck they're talking
Some
about.
David Lynch shit right there, man. That's some David shit.
Yeah.
Just jiggling boobs in front of you, like, wow. That is so fucked up.
And Eric, his vibe was that this guy was a construct. Because Eric is all like,
What do you mean
daggers.
construct? What do you mean construct?
Like a fucking agent.
Oh, right.
He was like, this guy does not come off as a financial expert
Right.
at all.
Right.
And Weinstein is an economist.
Dude, it's...
Right? He worked for Peter Thiel. He was just... Can you give me some of that coffee, brother?
Yeah, sure. Peter
I think he
Thiel.
was a math teacher.
Teacher.
It's my Palantir hat.
And then he became whatever he became.
Well, he's not a dumb dude at all. And if he thinks the guy was fake, like right away, that's his instinct. like initially. I think the problem is a lot of those guys wanted him to be real because what fun. You get to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody thinks it was kids, and there probably was a lot of that because
Definitely.
I don't know what the actual accusations have been, because the wildest thing about the Ghislaine trial is like she went to jail for trafficking to who knows who. The fact that you could just put her in jail and who'd you traffic to? Like none of that gets out in the trial at all? That's crazy. And they do it right in front of your face.
That's fucking crazy.
So you don't know. We hear it was underage girls. We know that some of them were underage for sure. And then we also know that some of them were not underage. They were young women. And you know, they all have, like, one of them wound up dying recently. One of them that's been a whistleblower died.
Yeah.
Like, you imagine you're a young girl and you're fucking broke, and then you meet that guy and he invites you to go on a fucking island somewhere or party somewhere, and you're hanging out with all these fucking creeps, and then years later, when all it starts coming out, what happened, you go public and you don't have any money. You don't have any money. And you got these fucking billionaire sharks who want to take you out because you sucked their dick 30 years ago or whatever it was. Yeah. That's got to be terrifying. Lawmaker claimed the files included one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control.
Fuck. Yeah, man. See, this right here, this is scary shit.
Because this is how communism gets started. This is when they attack, they realize, like, this is like a point where people are like, maybe Mom Donnie's right.
Dude, I mean, but that's one thing that's beautiful about humans is that all of us agree, don't fuck kids.
Don't fuck kids.
That's a beautiful thing. If you want to find the thing that that connects all of us, it's we really want to keep our kids safe. We love our children. And so if it turns out, and dude, you guys, if you want to have a dark few days, listen to Martyr Maid's episode on the Epstein files. It's not what he just points to other times the state has protected organized sex trafficking rings. Like, this isn't the first time this shit has happened. And so
that's what's crazy.
That's the scary part. If all of us realize that we've been funding and voting for vampires, sex vampires, essentially.
Do you remember the Madam story?
Is that the one that Charlie? No, that was
no. That was L.A.
Okay.
The lady who went to jail.
I don't really remember it.
The D.C. Madam story was this lady got busted, and she had a book filled with high-profile individuals from Washington that she and her ladies were servicing.
Right.
And then she committed suicide.
Well, you know, it's a hard... She probably was depressed,
Yeah.
you know. DC's winters are tough.
I bet those people are free. I bet they get down.
Well,
I bet they get down. I bet when they're done with all that lawmaking bullshit, at the end of the day, a lot of them are young. A lot of them are just in it they can't believe they're hanging out at the real deal. They're really a congressperson.
Fuck yeah.
They're really a staffer.
Listen, I don't mind. I want politicians to fuck. I don't want them to be sexless fucking androids up there.
They just want war.
Just don't fuck kids. You know, like...
But we need to know what actually happened. Because maybe some of these guys just got prostitutes on that island. Maybe, you know, who knows what levels he was doing this at. There was probably a bunch of people that weren't depraved, but he wanted dirt on them, right? And then there's people that are depraved. Like, you've got probably multiple layers to what he was doing.
Okay, but here's the... I mean... I think it's safe to say, and it's not even territorial, the current system of how we elect our leaders is based on money. You need donors, right?
100%.
So that is a kind of legal bribery. You give enough money to this politician or that politician, and it's not like you own them, but they know you gave them all this money, and they know they want to run again. They also know that you've got your own constituents, and you have a lot of control, network of bots that you could easily unleash on that. And so I think it's a safe bet that it's highly likely that it's donors who are on that list, who are compromised for real, who are exerting massive amounts of pressure on the federal government to not release those fucking files. But and it could be that it's an existential threat. It could be that it would cause so much tumult that it could lead to an actual uprising. It could lead a bunch of us with torches standing around the fucking castle, ready to burn the vampire out. And I think that must be it. Because if I'm a career politician, dude, I don't want to vote against releasing something that is if there are monsters among us, we need to know. Dude, in my neighborhood, we got a scary ass fucking letter. Sex offender. If you're just a basic bitch seconder and you move anywhere in Texas, mass mail goes out with your picture on it and your fucking address. You know what I mean? So why is it that there are these very same people who are working right now, who are out there, nobody knows, who are actual predatory pedophiles, and our government is protecting?
That's the other tariff thing about the open border. In the name of compassion and, not stopping people from coming into the country, one thing that they think was a lot of it was sex trafficking kids.
Oh, yeah.
Kids.
Fucked up.
Yeah. That there's truly evil people in the world, that want a child to do terrible things, and they'll pay a lot of money to get one.
Dude, this is what a Catholic mass now.
It never encountered real evil. You wouldn't believe that would be possible. But then when you find out the numbers of kids that went missing,
dude,
that came across the border, the number of kids where they have no trace of them, they have no idea where they went. We're talking thousands and thousands of kids. Now, I'm not saying they all got sex trafficked, but I bet some of them did.
Listen, man.
And if it's a person where there's no record of them, no one's going to know they're missing. There's probably some fucking dark, twisted motherfuckers that would give you a lot of Bitcoin for something like that. Epstein stuff is so crazy because when Kash Patel was on here and he was like, there's nothing. And I was like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. My thought was, and people are like, why didn't you push back more? My thought was like, I'm just going to put this out there and let the internet do its work because there's nothing I can. The guy's saying there's no tapes, there's no video. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows it doesn't make any sense. And then he didn't know about the Michael Baden stuff, the autopsy stuff, where it showed that he had 3 broken bones in his neck, which never happens when you hang yourself. Even when you leap from somewhere with a rope around your neck and it snaps your neck, you never have 3
and he's
broken
in a prison
bones.
cell. He's not launching himself the first floor balcony.
The whole thing was nuts. A film, we're going to release that film, and the film has a fucking minute missing from it.
Yeah.
Do you think we're babies? What is this?
Also, you got people, including Dan Bongino, right, making bank for a couple of years talking about how awful it is, and we got to get this shit. There's a huge conspiracy, and then you release a 2-day, a 2 memo that says, there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, because you can buy your bedroom window and you see a little laser,
red
laser moving across your chest.
Yeah, but it really is. It's so look. You know me. I'm not a conspiracy guy by nature.
Are today?
I am today. Today, I'm fully on board with this shit.
Everyone's in today.
Yeah, no, but they're actually doing right as we speak. And I find this fascinating. Is that the Assistant Attorney General Todd Blanche is down in Florida for an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Right? And she's serving 20 years in a prison for sex trafficking. Right?
To who?
What's that?
To who?
Well, he's down there to interview her.
But she's sex trafficked.
Oh,
to who?
She was a co-conspirator of Epstein's, right?
But don't you have a person who you're sex trafficking to?
Exactly. They talked about the victims somewhat during her trial. It was it was a very difficult trial in the sense of they're trying to protect certain victims and others were coming forward. My surprise was nobody from DOJ has ever, according to her legal team, nobody has ever interviewed her from DOJ. Right? So, Department of Justice. So this is the first time the Department of Justice, you're telling me, and meanwhile, up on Capitol Hill, you got Democrats like Adam Schiff and others going, we have got to release these files. They had 4 years under the previous administration, right?
Yeah.
Look, everybody's fucked in this situation, but they had all that time to do whatever they wanted to do. And nobody, up until this point, apparently, has talked to her. Now, some folks on the legal side are saying, well, look, if she had anything interesting to say, she said it during the course of her trial, right, to save herself or to cut a deal.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Kill her.
Yeah, well,
The smartest thing for her to do is to keep her fucking mouth shut, which is what she did.
Right.
They put her in a cushy prison where she could do yoga.
yeah. Good in prison. That doesn't sound
Here,
good.
one of my favorite ones. I'm gonna send you this, Jamie, because somebody tweeted this and it's just so perfect, and it just shows you how crazy this whole thing has been, like, from the very beginning. This is someone tweeted this from the Atlantic, and this is what's funny about this. Check this out, Jamie. So it's these fucking people. It's like they all knew her. They all knew him. So many people knew him and knew her. And they're all pretending that they didn't. And no one knew it. Check this out. This is The Atlantic says. Go up, Baker, so we can see it. So we can see the quote below it. Below it.
I'm trying. I zoomed.
No, go back.
No, I know. I zoomed it.
There we go. I can't read it. There it goes. This is what The Atlantic posts. If the Epstein scandal teaches us anything, it's that America needs a dedicated and decently funded group of people whose job it is not to just ask questions, but to find answers. And then this guy, Sean Davis, posts, the woman on the right is Ghislaine Maxwell. She trafficked children for Jeffrey Epstein. The woman on the left owns your magazine. This is so fucking wild.
Yeah.
Just that alone is so wild that they would have the balls to post that. We need dedicated journalists, not just people asking questions, which is, like, for sure, an attack on podcasts. Like, listen, you guys didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You didn't do shit. So just the fact that we're just asking questions along with that, or is this a knock on the defunding of PBS, which is essentially a propaganda network for the Democratic Party?
Yeah. Now, being apparently, we'll see if that's apparently being defunded. But yeah, look, everybody's worried now, right? No, at first it was like, okay, again, I go back a handful of years. Nobody was pushing for that, right? Because you got people from all sides probably on whatever that list looks like, whatever that Epstein file looks like, whoever was involved. You got people from all sides of the spectrum here going on. And so everybody's worried. So it looked like, all right, there's kind of bizarre bipartisan moment where we're not going to push for this, really. Going to make a big effort here. We're not sending anybody from DOJ. The Dems aren't, during the Biden administration, calling for the release of the files. Now, when they smell, blood in the water and a particular, political motivation. So let's get these files out. And, it's going to look good from this. But I would caution some. Just because a name might be in a file, no matter whose it is, right, doesn't necessarily mean there's nefarious activity. It could be like any police file, right, that says, okay, the individual stopped at this particular location, person was there. Doesn't mean they're connected to something awful. They weren't fuck-age girls. Maybe they were if they're in the file, right? But I'm just saying there's a lot of people probably in that file that are going to be named, if it ever comes out, who may or may not have been engaged in illegal activity. But just release the goddamn things. The Epstein situation is going to be so disappointing to so many people now because I have this theory that nothing ever gets done in D.C., right? Investigations go to die there. Nothing ever happens. There's never any real consequences of any nature. And we got all sorts of things happening right now, right? So the Epstein case is just one of them. But right now, you've got the Dems focused on Epstein because, they see there's just a good opportunity here to go after Trump. Regardless of who else is in the files, right? And the Dems, I think, were worried for quite some time and didn't pursue it because, back they were thinking, okay, Clinton's going to be embarrassed. You don't want that.
Right.
So, again, my point would be just everything. I don't understand how, if you just look at the way they handled this logistically, whoever thought, because the mob wants to eat, right? And they've been throwing red meat to the mob about Epstein files now for years.
Part of how-
and so whoever in their communications group or in their strategic think arena in the administration thought, that we can get away with saying there's nothing to see here, they should be fired, right? Because no way you can satisfy this mob. And now the mob is oddly bipartisan because it's got the Dems and it's got, part of the base of Trump in.
Yeah.
And they're all, screaming to have this. God, just release this shit. Otherwise, this is going to be around like Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy. And
well, that's
you know,
what's crazy. They did release more Martin Luther King documents,
Yeah.
which is really crazy. Like, why are you holding secrets about the murder of one of the most beloved historical figures of all time from 1968?
Part of that
and
is
you
a family
just released
request.
it?
Yeah, part of that's a family request. The family has asked on a number of occasions. They really don't want some of this because some of it's salacious about Martin Luther King, which doesn't take away from everything he did, right? As a leader of a cause and a movement. But some of it is,
extramarital affairs,
yeah.
things along
So
those.
and some push to be concerned about that. But yeah, now do the Epstein.
Well, they'll do it in
yeah.
the same amount of time, 56 years from now, just like they did with him. 56 fucking years later, they released this stuff.
This and not any closer to. Again, I don't want to disappear down that rabbit hole, but we're still not any closer with Martin Luther King. I'm, again, not a conspiracy guy except today apparently, but there's shit there.
Well, you've said multiple times. There's one that you think looks really bad.
Yeah.
It's that one.
It's that one. But I going back to. I know I'm bouncing around here, but going back to the Epstein, they don't understand how they handled this so poorly, right? For Pam Bondi to come out and talk about the files and oh my god,
Right.
and then like with the of an eye, they come out with this bullshit Sunday night memo saying there's nothing to see. How
Do you think
could they
there's just a lack
possibly
of coordination?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
that
think
makes sense.
I think it's a messaging problem is always kind of a element of the Trump administration, whether it's this one or not. And now look, that's not I'm not knocking a lot of the policies. I like a lot of the policies that come out of this administration, this one and in the previous, the first administration. But I'm just saying, a hallmark of a Trump administration is the ability to have a self-inflicted wound, shoot in the foot because of messaging usually, right?
Right.
So I think they've done it again, and I don't see how they walk this back. They're trying, I think, with this interview with Ghislaine Maxwell to say, "Look, we're trying. We're talking to her."
But how does Pam Bondi say we have thousands of hours, and then Kash Patel says we don't have anything that you're looking for?
Yeah.
And then Tim Dillon said he has lunch with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance says that 10,000 hours is commercial pornography.
Right. Yeah. This freak show of Epstein wasn't like. It didn't have hidden cameras. It wasn't taped and shit. Or whatever. I mean, come on.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that one about that house they had in New York City, which is, by the way, for sale. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, nobody wants to buy it. Like, you want to buy Epstein's house?
Do the camera pay?
But this is the thing. I mean, you got to gut the walls. How are you going to know what the fuck is in there?
Yeah.
Imagine you're walking around your house naked and you think that the CIA is, or your organization, or whoever it is.
To be fair, the agency's
Mossad,
got a lot of hours of videotape of me walking around.
Mossad, whoever it is that was involved in this intelligence gathering. I mean, I'm just guessing.
Right,
I have
right,
no
right.
idea.
Yeah.
But there's fucking pinhole cameras all over that house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Maybe they took
to
them
start
down?
from perception, right? Because again, if anything else, you're just being naive if you think, no, there's nothing. Again,
You got to
God
take
damn
it down to the bare beams.
Yeah.
What do you think that was all about? Who do you think was involved in that? Do you think it was the Mossad? Do you think it was some rogue intelligence agency in America? Was it a coordinated effort?
I know this. There's a lot of talk about. Did he have some sort of intel connection? Right.
Right.
That from my perspective, it's complete speculation. But I will say, like from an operational perspective, I have no idea. Was it Mossad? Was it anybody? Who knows?
Right.
But from an operational perspective, if you see a guy like this who's super connected and all the way back to 2008 was like his first trial. Right? So he's had a long history of these problems. But if you know he's kind of engaged in a variety of things. As an example, if I'm Chinese intel, right, and I just read the goddamn entertainment news, there's these rumors and allegations of high level people flying off to his. I'm going to think that's interesting because potentially, if I could get an honest source there, if I can get somebody right inside that operation, whether it's Ghislaine Maxwell or whether it's Epstein himself, whether it's somebody who's just on the outskirts of it. Maybe I'll start picking up some pretty interesting leverageable information on people that maybe I want to influence. Right?
And it's funny to me that it always comes down to like carnal needs and carnal desires.
Yeah.
It's always sex. Yeah. Because these guys, when you get to like this Bill Gates level and Bill Clinton level, you can't just go pick up gals at the bar.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what
a little
I mean?
tough. Yeah.
So you're a super famous super freak. and you like chasing skirts, but you can't do it. Like, what do you do?
Well, he did, right? Which is you get somebody to procure you, which apparently was Pearlie Maxwell's job.
Yeah.
And she's out there, and she was described, usually as his girlfriend, but she was clearly operating a pimp or whatever the female version of a pimp is.
Curator.
Curator. Yeah, it's a curator.
Yeah.
And so she's out there doing that. But look, again, I can't speak to the rumors about him working for one intel agency or another. But I will say, if I'm working for an intel agency and I see something like that, I might find that of interest, right?
Oh, for
and then
sure.
I would definitely go after somebody to see what's going on. Just if for no other reason than again, maybe it's an opportunity there.
Well, it's the connect the dots puzzle
Right.
of all time.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
rich, powerful people and hot chicks and probably drugs.
Yeah.
And cameras.
Yeah, and I tell you, the Russians nothing better than the truth. The reality is, in terms of recruiting an asset by using mail is tough, right? You gotta that starts closing immediately, right? In terms of their operational usefulness, because there's a lot of issues there, right? You're blackmailing somebody for their cooperation. At some point, that's going to go south on you, right? It's not like you've recruited somebody for ideological reasons, right? Or
Right.
even something as straightforward as like they need the money because their kid's sick or whatever it may be. So blackmail's right. But the Russians in particular love that, right? The Chinese intel, they'll do whatever works from their perspective. Again, people are going to say that's bullshit. The agency tries. They blackmail is never really ever on the table as an option because it always leads to a problem, and sometimes those problems can be very, very bad. In terms of
what do you mean?
well, they will turn on you, right? Next thing you know, you've got an agent working now, a double agent working for the other side, right? Because they're so fucked over by the fact that they've been blackmailed, and at some point they lose their shit, they decide to roll for the other side.
But aren't you constantly monitoring them and looking at their phone?
There's only so much you can do, right? In terms of maintaining, particularly with a hard target, particularly with an asset who's in a difficult or challenging environment, Paris, and you've got limited access to them, whatever it means. So you're really relying on clandestine communications. You don't have a lot of face-to-face meetings, and at some point you never know when things are heading south, right? And then the next thing you know, that's the operational reason for trying to avoid blackmail. Right? Has it ever been done? Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't been done.
Of course.
But some services go to it much quicker than others do. Yeah. So again, the Russians are primary users of something like that. Because they've got a shotgun approach. Yeah. Israelis have been known to do that in the honeypot operations that they'll do and other things. But the Russians a lot of shit at the wall and see what sticks. Right? It's very much a shot approach. Right? And honestly, sometimes, that can work, right?
Wasn't that, if you thought about this island, if you're bringing award-winning scientists, like famous people, politicians, world leaders, all to one place, you're basically throwing as much shit against the wall as you can.
Yeah.
And then you have all this stuff on all these different people, and they know it, and so then you just kind of wasn't there some CEO that had to step down because he wound up giving Epstein, it was found out that he gave Epstein $150 million that they couldn't explain why.
Well, okay.
Wasn't that the case, Jamie? So it's one of those things where there's obviously value in having all these people on your side.
Yeah.
But when you do get all this information on these people, what are they trying to accomplish with it? This is the question. Are they trying to get support for a CEO to step down after firm finds more payments to Jeffrey Epstein? $158 million. He paid the convicted sex offender $158 million.
What does it? If you can scroll down a little bit, Jamie.
Yeah. He's planning to step down as chief. I've advised the Apollo board that I will return as CEO before my 70th birthday in July. Remain as chairman. Oh, he's going to remain as a chairman. New York Times detailed at least $75 million in payments and found that Mr. Black had paid Epstein $158 million in a 5-year period ending in 2017. He also lent Mr. Epstein more than $30 million, only $10 million of which he was paid back. Wow. So that's a guy that they got something on him.
I love this. Leon viewed Epstein as a conflicting tastes. This was after his 2008 guilty plea. Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Christ.
Mr. Epstein's advice was worth perhaps $2 billion in tax savings to Mr. Black, according to the report.
Right.
What the
But this
fuck?
is the sign said. Eric said that this guy is not. He's not good. He doesn't know
Yeah.
what he's talking about. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't a good financial advisor.
Yeah, I think part of it is you can say, okay, why was he collecting people around him? Why was he doing? I mean, was he keeping a file? Right, you still have to figure out what that file looks like. Part of it could have been initially self-preservation. I mean, he's engaged in all sorts of activity. He gets a few people into it, then suddenly, he doesn't look so bad, right? And he's kind of protecting himself because now I'm surrounded by people who also have to keep that secret. And so, but then the question becomes, is at what point is he or somebody in his little tight circle there? Are they approached, right, by anybody who's interested in some of these folks? But we don't know because we don't know who the fuck's in these files, right? So.
Or if files even exist.
If the files exist, and apparently, there's nothing in there, according to Pam Bondi.
Cash Patel. The whole thing's nuts.
Yeah.
And then, have Bongino and Cash Patel saying he definitely killed himself. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Okay, this just the level of convenience. It's so convenient that the guards were asleep. So convenient that the cameras didn't work. So convenient that years later you have a recording of the outside of the cell, but a minute is missing from it.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes?
Yeah, they found out it was like almost 3 minutes was missing. 2 minutes, like 53
It's
seconds.
like the missing Watergate.
Oh, I thought it was
Remember?
just
It
1 minute.
did.
Yeah.
It started off as a minute, and then
Yeah.
people kept looking in the metadata, and like, okay, it was saved this many times, and it
Oh
was
my
actually up to 3
God.
minutes missing.
God. Okay.
That's plenty of time to kill somebody. 3 minutes is more than enough time. You go-
3 minutes. You can.
Let's just get to it because I know it's on people's minds. Epstein, right? The reason people are pissed off about that is the same thing, right? 20 years ago or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right?
Right.
After committing the most horrific crimes on planet Earth, right? I wasn't in power there. I wasn't in place there. I had, nothing to do with it. But people were right pissed. I mean, this guy was committing the most grotesque acts you can, children. And media spins up about it. Many in the media protected him. Why? Because of his relationships, who he knew, who his bankers were, who his colleagues were, who was on the island and stuff like that. Some pretty powerful human beings. So when you peel back the layer and then what happened? The Trump administration, the last go round, decided, no, we're not going to let that go. We're going to investigate him, right? They charge him, they indict him, and he's awaiting trial. And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's test activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed? I'm my ass off, along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ, to get you what I'm about to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell. And you're going to see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
Okay, let's get into that. So, what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion of all of it?
But I have a different background, right? So I was a public defender back in the day. I used to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, shoes as we, right? And so, and I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells. And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so based on public information at the time, that he ended up, the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like, man, that guy killed him. There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it and not have any people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy. He shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy. There's just no access points into places like this in the detention center he was in, which I've been in.
So correct me wrong, but what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Surmise that from a video, right? Like,
Right.
Where they and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? but no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you the footage we have.
So why wasn't that released like immediately? Why did this speculation escalate?
I think to ask whoever the attorney general back then was, Bill Barr.
Did you ever see? Do you remember that HBO autopsy show? Dr. Michael Baden. He's a famous forensic
I don't think I've seen
scientist. So he's a pathologist, and he reviewed the case, and it was his determination that it was a homicide because of the way his neck was broken. And what he said was it was indicative of a ligature strangulation. And it was because of the positioning on the neck where the marks were, that it wasn't indicative of someone hanging by their weight, which had been higher on the chin. And there's a specific break of the bones and the vertebrae that's consistent with someone who is just strangled to death.
I haven't. I'll definitely take a look at it because that's part of my job.
You haven't seen that?
Report on
Yeah.
that? No, I haven't looked at that.
Did you see any? Was there any other autopsy done other than the official one?
Not to my knowledge, but if there was, you'll get it. And that's what we're doing.
See if you that Dr. Michael Baden thing.
Yeah. No,
Did you remember that show, the HBO show?
No.
Pretty cool show.
Yeah.
So this guy, Dr. Michael Baden, he had a long career of catching murderers, exhuming bodies, finding trace amounts of poisons, different kinds of things. And it was a crazy show, like all these wild ways.
Well, I love watching shows, and I spend a lot of time on planes.
Yeah, an old show. It was a
Okay.
show like from the early 2000s, I believe. But this guy was like, this very well-respected forensic scientist who would analyze these bodies, and it was his determination that he was murdered.
Yeah. And my job, going back to the core of what I've been doing since I studied Russiagate, was to get, and
Right.
is to get everybody the information.
When did you get here? Epstein's autopsy points to homicide. Pathologist hired by brother claims. New York City medical examiner strongly disputed the claim that the evidence from the autopsy suggested strangulation. So let's go to by the way, this is the New York Times, and they never lie. The private pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, said in the morning TV show Fox and Friends, Mr. Epstein experienced a number of injuries, among them a broken bone in his neck, that are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. I think the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide, said Dr. Baden, who observed the autopsy done by city officials. Dr. Baden, a former New York City medical examiner and a Fox News contributor, said, I have not seen in 50 years where that occurred in suicidal hanging case. Findings by Dr. Baden were strongly disputed by the city's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, who previously ruled that Mr. Epstein's death on August 10th in the Metropolitan Correctional Center was a suicide. I stand firmly behind our determination of the cause and manner of death in this case, Dr. Sampson said in the interview on Wednesday. She added, in general, fractures of the hyoid bone and cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides. The hyoid bone is near the Adam's apple. Dr. Sampson also dismissed Dr. Baden's contention that the circumstances around Mr. Epstein's death suggested other people may have been involved. She said her office had done a complete investigation, taking into consideration information gathered by law enforcement in making the determination.
So this is going back to my public defender and prosecutor days. This is what we call a war of experts. You can find someone
Right.
to come in and say the opposite.
Right.
And I used to do it all the time. I mean, I represented some of the worst humans that you can possibly imagine on Earth. Literally. The guys that were taking children from Mexico into America. And you could put up a professional expert to say, and this is what's going to go on forever. And my job is not the forever. My job is to get you absolutely everything that we can give you. And that's what we're going to do.
When did you become aware of this video that showed that no one had gone in and out of the cell?
Recently.
So why was it recent? I mean, if this death was, how long ago was this death? 2 years?
Couple.
2019?
2019.
Oh, really? Why time flies. So 6 years.
Well, again, that's part of what I'm going to try to answer for you.
Jeffrey Epstein jail CCTV erased by technical errors. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
But you see how anybody on the this is like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
For something. Can you pull that article up so we can read what it says, Jamie? U.S. prosecutors jail mistakenly saved footage from the wrong cell. Sorry. Epstein, a convicted sex offender, first tried to kill himself in July last year and hanged himself in jail.
Hang on.
Yep.
Reread that line.
that he first tried to kill himself in July of last year.
How much of the American public do you think knows that?
I didn't know that until right now. Right? Did you ever hear it, Jamie?
Well, that's why he was on suicide watch, I think.
Oh, okay.
So a
Hanged
guy
himself in jail while serving trial on federal trafficking charge. He pleaded not guilty to abusing dozens of girls, some as young as 14. Soon after Epstein's death in August, 2 of the CCTV cameras outside his cell had malfunctioned and were being examined by the FBI. Found semi-conscious in his prison cell with injuries on his neck on 25 of July. After this incident, he's placed on suicide watch.
I'm not saying every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it. And then you can make up your own mind. And the theories continue. But my job
So you became aware of this.
is that we're looking at,
Right.
Yeah.
And so this is like an article from quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same, ask the people that were in power then. I mean, I get it that you want to hold me to account for actions. And
No, I'm not
you,
saying,
not you.
I'm not saying that.
The public in general, and that's okay.
What's confusing to everybody today, first of all, it's very confusing because AI can kind of make anything. You know, which has got to be a bizarre position for you to be in when you're looking at videos. I mean, I've watched Viking videos. It looked real as fuck, you know? They just make Viking towns. I mean, it's really quite incredible what they're doing now, and it accelerates every month. I mean, I talked to Elon about it, and he said we're blown away literally every week. Every week there's some new breakthrough that we're like, wow, we didn't expect that.
Well, I can tell after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come make it, they'd make it better.
But why make it better when people could, you know, you could have ambiguous footage that is, you know, totally generated by AI. I mean, AI can generate blurry images. AI can generate night vision. AI can generate essentially anything that's already existed, like really shitty 1984 VHS tapes. They can do that.
They can. But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the tape from the tape. You know, there's... Just like I'm giving you the documents from just like I'm giving you information to Congress on COVID origins or what have you, what we find is what you're getting.
Okay, so missing jail video from the first Jeffrey Epstein suicide, so for the first attempt, has been found. So maybe, let's put it into perspective, jails are not the efficient, best-run places. It's not like...
Fort Knox?
No,
it's not.
It's, yeah.
You know, we're with what we got.
Right.
So, and listen, this guy's not the only guy to kill himself in prison. It happens, I don't know how often.
Right.
All the time.
Even if he killed himself in prison. So if he was murdered in prison, crazy, right?
Yeah.
You could see why very powerful people wouldn't want
If he
him
was
talking.
murdered, segregated housing, in isolation, after being on suicide watch in a place in a detention center that I've fully been in myself, it would be it's just in my experience, that is not doable.
It's not doable, even for the most powerful and wealthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think, though, that like if someone was in a position where a guy could release information that could potentially damage the most wealthy people on Earth, you would have a concerted effort that's unprecedented.
Sure.
You'd have the resources that we couldn't even possibly comprehend, all pointing towards eliminating this one person that it could be done.
But so many people have been implicated, right, already. And some of that information, what they did to Andrew and everybody else is already out there. And so that's the conspiracy stuff that me and Bongino and the folks have to say, look, we will do everything we can, and then we will do our job. Also, if I had a shred, Cal, had a shred of evidence, the Russiagate guy, the Jan 6 guy, the COVID origins guy, had a shred of evidence that this guy was murdered, I would be the guy to bring this case hard and fast. And I would even doing press conferences every week on it. The first guy. That's what I'm asking people to get to their logical conclusion. I'm not Comey. I'm not McCabe. I'm not the guy that was in this before. I have a wildly different background. I've been putting out the truth my entire career. Why would I risk all of it on this guy?
I believe you. Catch the letter.
Oh, yeah.
I believe you. I just think that, you know, the problem is we've been fuming on this conspiracy for so long. And we love conspiracies, don't we?
No,
As
it's
an
good.
entry,
It's
they're
good,
so
right?
much fun.
I mean, they make good TV.
JFK's, come on, like release the documents. We all love them. We love them. We love UFO ones. We love everything. We love the craziest conspiracies. They're exciting. We don't want to hear
They're
that he
entertaining.
tried himself in July and then succeeded in August. And look, I could imagine why the guy wanted to kill himself. He was going to jail for the rest of his fucking life, and in jail, sex offenders for children are not treated well.
Hey, and also, by the way, most Americans, nor should they, have you ever spent 1 minute in segregated housing?
No.
It's the worst, the absolute worst. You and your background, you could probably handle it, right? Like, just in all reality, most Americans, you put them in there for seconds, they're going to slam their head against the wall. Literally. They're going to lose their mind immediately.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
I'm sure. I could only imagine. And I could only imagine this guy knowing that it's over. And what do you want to do? Do you want to...
Yeah, and then
who knows who the fuck he's working for? Let's just put that aside. Now, if you're working for... We don't have to name names. We don't have to speculate. If he's working for some agency, some group, some foreign group, and they decide to target his family... Because he's going to jail for the rest of his life anyway. They decide to target his family if he testifies against them. I could see where if I thought that it was like I'm going to be in jail for the rest of my life, or I tell and my family winds up being killed or destroyed, or who knows. Maybe you'd say, look, the honorable thing is to end it in prison.
honorable thing,
cowardly, whatever it is. Like, you just
also,
decide.
At that point, that guy was going back in a gen pop. And the one thing about prison systems is the people they eat are child predators. And
Well
he
known.
was going to get eaten.
Well known. Yeah. And they probably wouldn't have protected him. Yeah. So the narrative has always been that there's video. Now, what is the chain of custody? Is there evidence that there is video? Is there evidence that it was moved around, stored, protected from people looking at it? Like,
You're going to get all the information. Like, that's literally what we're putting together. And we're going to give you every single thing we can. And that's the whole point. We can't fill by making stuff up, and we're not going to do that.
and you have to be methodical.
And we have to be, that's the other thing, right? We're reviewing not just the video, we're reviewing everything as meticulously as we can, because that's what the American people, that's our job. And we don't rush to the sticks or the podium and just say, hey, look what we found.
Right.
And then be like, oh, sorry, I forgot the 4 seconds. If we miss 4 seconds, and be like, oh, well, it's in the 4 seconds you missed.
Right.
So I'm
How
pretty
much can
confident.
you tell what you've seen?
Not just what I've told you.
Can you say you've seen?
No, that's the point, that there's nothing in there, like in the video. You guys would be bored.
You talked the video of the murder or
yeah.
the suicide.
The suicide.
But what about the video from the island?
Oh, sorry. So you're talking about two different
Yes.
things. So
Sorry.
So again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening. And he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felony on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have,
Period.
Right.
If I have it.
So,
Where else?
right. If you have it, but you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far, gone over all the video that's available.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
And is video from the island?
not of what you. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right. Speculating.
And I'm like, here's the other thing I've been asking for, right? Openly. If information on this, call us. Tell us. The best resource we have is the American people in the world.
Right.
Get me the tail numbers. Get me the flight, get me new information. And I run that down.
So this narrative might not be accurate, that there's video of these guys doing this. Possible that the video was taken and destroyed.
Well, you're talking about, decades worth of stuff, right? Remember, we have what we have pursuant to lawful search and authorities from the case that was done however many years ago it was done. That's what we have. If other people have other stuff and they want to give it to us, bring it.
Have you guys reviewed anything that you have?
Like yeah, we have, and now we're figuring out how to
Right.
put it out.
Since we were talking about fake, this is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here.
Uh-oh.
Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation
What is
between
he?
Elon
Have a
and Trump.
nice day, DJD. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And,
Yeah. Listen,
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah,
Yeah.
they told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
I don't know how, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's way outside.
What the fuck are they doing?
I know my.
I mean, I understand he owns Twitter. I think it's bad for your mental health. I think posting things public all day and arguing with people all day is bad for you.
Well, you raised a point. Sorry to cut you off. Half of what we have to respond to is the click army on social media.